What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. I was planning on doing a mock draft today, and then I saw that Daniel Jeremiah had put out his mock draft, and so I wanted to talk about that one a little bit. And then also, Arthur Millette just signed a 2-year contract extension with the Baltimore Ravens. So I figured, why not go live, do a little bit of a quick discussion, and this will be very fine if you guys are not watching it live. If you're watching it in post or anything like that, totally fine. It should be a pretty tame and mellow live stream, but just wanted to kind of talk about the different things going on with the Ravens news as of late. But first off, I do want to mention Arthur Millette's contract a little bit. This is a signing that I'm very happy about because I think Arthur Millette was really good for the Ravens. And I think that when you look at the Ravens cornerback room, we needed to re-sign one of the veterans, and we already lost Darby. And I think Millette was definitely better than Rocky Ya-Sin. And so, Arthur Millette, welcome back to Baltimore, and I hope we can continue using you off the edge as a blitz guy. Trying to see if there's any details out about it. I don't see anything. First person I saw to have it reported looks like from Cameron Wolf. Said free agent slot cornerback Arthur Millette is re-signing 2-year deal with the Baltimore Ravens. Millette was a great late training camp signing for Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta last summer after a career year balling out at age 30. The physical Arthur Millette is back in Baltimore on a new deal. And I think that's really good because he is physical, and he definitely brings that mentality to the Ravens that anybody can blitz, anybody can play anywhere. And he wasn't just a blitzing guy. He did a really good job. I think he did. I believe it was against Jamar Chase. He did a good job against him. He played some really good cornerback play outside of the blitzing, and that's what he's known for, is coming off the edge. That's where he's definitely very dynamic. Captain Gamer says we should just re-sign Clowney now. I'm totally down with re-signing Clowney. I think the Ravens should go after a guy like him because I think he's very, very good. And I'm sorry. I need to change this color. It's annoying me that it's not like. All right, that's a little bit better. I think re-signing Clowney is definitely something that I would be open to because he is a dominant pass rusher for the Ravens last year. And when you're looking at the draft, there are definitely some holes in this Ravens team that we lost to free agency, right? Pass rusher, I think we need someone. That could be Clowney, that could be someone in the draft. Offensive tackle, maybe right tackle. Now, I'm not saying that we have to get a right tackle. You know, maybe we throw Patrick McCarry outside. Maybe we throw Daniel Falele, whatever it is. You know, guard, left guard, right guard. Yes, we have options, but, you know, if we want to go draft someone in the first round to fill any of those spots, I'm not going to be upset about it. But Clowney, if we re-sign him, that gets one of those things off the table. We would no longer need an edge rusher. Kenneth, I totally agree with that. And then I'm hoping Clowney comes back to the Ravens. I suppose he's pricing himself out. One thing to remember with Jadeveon Clowney never signs before the draft. Jadeveon Clowney is known for intentionally missing OTAs and parts of training camp because he doesn't want to do it. He likes to work out by himself. He likes to go out and do his own thing. So, you know, I don't think Clowney is somebody that we would be signing in the next month. I think Clowney is an August signing if we are able to get him. And I know he's going on some visits. He does that, you know, typically every year, but I doubt he signs early. And if he does, like, good for him. But he's traditionally a guy that likes to wait and figure out really the best spot for him. Wrong Siren, Amarius Mims, round 1 would be a great pick. If you guys don't know, that's the tackle out of Georgia. I would be very, very happy with him. There's a few tackles that I think round 1 at spot 30 would be great value. I think Mims is definitely one of them. I think Guyton out of Oklahoma, he's probably my favorite. He was the right tackle out of Oklahoma, so we could slot him in at the right tackle spot. I think he would be a really good option. And then I would be okay with the Arizona tackle. I don't know why I think what's his name? Taylor Morgan. I don't know why I'm blanking on that. I'm actually going to pull up the list of tackles because I don't want to be blanking on those when we're going through our mock draft. Jordan Morgan. Jordan Morgan is the other one. So I think those are the only ones that could be available at 30 that I think would be valuable to draft. Would be those guys. Now, I really like Kingsley Somataya, but I think that the value for him is going to be more than like maybe he's like an early round 2, middle of round 2 type of guy. I don't really think he's a first round type of player, but I think Guyton and Mims are borderline must draft players if they're available. The other ones, if we go in a different direction and maybe go wide receiver, edge, corner, I won't be upset. We definitely need a left tackle. Stanley just ain't it. I'm definitely good with going after a left tackle. I think this year's the last year of Ronnie Stanley. So if we decide to do a round 2 tackle and develop him as our left tackle, that would be totally fine. And we want to start Daniel Faalele at right tackle. I'm all good with that. But I think Ronnie Stanley is going to start this year, even if we do draft a Mims or something like that. I like Coleman or Leggett or Adonai Mitchell. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to make a YouTube short or short form content for Play Action about this. Keon Coleman is my wide receiver 3 in this draft class. And I know people dropped him a ton after the 40-yard dash in the combine, but I think people drastically underestimate how good his combine was. He had a great combine. Maybe the best combine for any of the wide receivers outside of the 40-yard dash. He was slow in the 40, but he dominated in all of the drills. He looked excellent. He was able to maintain his line. He was able to maintain his speed. And he is not a deep threat guy. He is a possession, big body, yak, physical wide receiver. I think he's the 3rd best receiver in the class. I have him over Neighbors. I have him over Brian Thomas Jr. And my top 2 are Marvin Harrison and Odunze. But now, if somebody says, oh, we need a deep threat, yeah, draft Neighbors, okay? Draft Neighbors over Keon Coleman. They're different players. But I have him in that Odunze and Neighbors tier. So, all in on Keon Coleman. I would love to get him in round 1 or maybe even round 2 if he falls because of that 40-yard dash. But I think he's an absolute monster, and he will dominate in the NFL. Xavier Leggett, definitely a round 2 option. I definitely like his game. A.D. Mitchell, I don't dislike A.D. Mitchell. I think his level is at end of round 1, early round 2 guy. So value-wise, I don't think that's upset or too off. But at the same time, I think there's different wide receivers I would rather draft. I think I would go Worthy over A.D. Mitchell. But that's because I feel like Lamar Jackson is better at throwing to the shiftier guys. I think he likes to throw to more space than he does to the body. So that's kind of my personal thought. Obviously, if you want a big body, go with A.D. Mitchell over Xavier Worthy. Captain Gamer says, I'm starting to think at 30, the most impact player would be a tackle because if Bateman and Lamar work things out, I think a 4th read target is worth a first-round pick. Yeah. No, that's definitely fair. Like, it's what are we doing with Bateman, right? Does Lamar want the Ravens to go after another guy? Or is Lamar totally fine with Bateman? And I think it just comes down to who's available, right? If Mims or Guyton are available, I think we're almost for sure drafting them unless some star players drops, right? Like, if a Laiatu Latu drops to 30, I think we'd probably go with him because he's better, but it would have to be a really good player. Maybe like if Cooper DeJean drops, I think the Ravens would go with Cooper DeJean because he's that good. But JJ, this is a good question. I think it depends on the tackle. I think they would maybe take A.D. Mitchell over a Jordan Morgan or a Kingsley Sumataria, the tackle out of BYU. I think they'd go A.D. Mitchell. But if it's Mims or Guyton, I think they're going with the tackle. They still need a receiver. I think signing an MT and drafting Leggett round 2 would be great if they get a competent tackle round 1. I don't think signing Michael Thomas makes any sense. Ravens fans, we are too weary of the injury prone wide receivers to want Michael Thomas. And I'm a big Michael Thomas fan. I've been rooting for that guy almost his entire career. Like, I've followed him and I have wanted him to succeed. He just cannot stay healthy. And last year when he played, like, he wasn't bad, but it's every year it is just injury after injury, and he gets like 3 games in. And we were upset about how much Odell played. Michael Thomas would be playing less, and he'd be playing at about the same level. So as much as I like Michael Thomas, I don't really think it would be smart for us to go sign him. Chris Reed said, only corner I'm taking if he slipped to 30 is Quinion Mitchell. Quinion Mitchell's very, very good. I would definitely take him. Need tackle either Mims, Guyton, or Morgan, but second round Coleman or Leggett. With first 4 rounds, need safety. Love 3 safety sets. No, definitely. I think the 3 safety sets will be valuable. Now, one thing to consider, though, is Trenton Simpson has almost, he's not a safety, but he almost has the safety archetype, right? He has the speed, physicality, and almost the size. He's like the size of like a bigger safety. When we drafted him, I wondered if we would try and replace the Chuck Clark role, like the box safety role, with Trenton Simpson. And I do think we do have our Darius Washington re-signed. I like his game. And, you know, I definitely want safety at some point in the draft. But I would say Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, and maybe Kool-Aid McKinstry. But I don't think Kool-Aid would fall to 30. Those would kind of be the 3 that I would really like. If we need another running back, I'd like to see Corum come to Baltimore. I like Blake Corum's game a lot. I think he's probably my RB4 in this draft class. I think the guys ahead of him that I have would be now I got to pull up a list, but I can name the colleges. I'm really bad with names. I apologize. I would say that Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks, Braylon Allen would be the 3 running backs I have ahead of him. But I really like his game. I don't think he would really fit, though, with what we're trying to do. Having 2 really undersized backs would not be beneficial, in my opinion. I think if we wanted to draft someone like a Braylon Allen is a good Derrick Henry backup bruiser, or Trey Benson is like a future RB1 type of player. Let's see here. Oreo, no problem. It's not just a draft stream, just doing a regular stream. And we'll do a mock draft at some point in here. But can both OAs and Bateman's 5th-year options be picked up, or is it only one? Both can be picked up. I don't think either will be picked up, but both can be picked up. It's the franchise tag that you can only use one on. But that's one of the benefits why I'm so adamant about staying in the first round is that 5th-year option. Because when you look at, you know, if you trade from 30 to 37, right? Yes, you're only losing 7 picks, but, you know, you're losing out on that 5th year. So if you draft, right, like let's say we trade back to 37 and we draft a wide receiver like a Keon Coleman, and he ends up being a 3-time Pro Bowler in the first 4 years. Now all of a sudden you're going to have to just extend him. Whereas if you had that 5th-year option, I would rather just take the guy 7 picks before you think his value is at and get the 5th year. Like if you really think that that guy's that good, just take the 5th, like have the option of the 5th-year contract. Like that's massively valuable. That's why the Ravens traded to pick 32 to draft Lamar Jackson, was to get the 5th-year option. That's why so many teams want to draft quarterback in the first round as well, is because it gives you that 5th-year option. That's why so many quarterbacks are overdrafted. That's why Kenny Pickett was overdrafted. That's why people are talking about J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, and all those other guys that they're like, oh, these guys are now first-round picks. It's because they want the 5th-year option. They may be end of first round, early second round players, but they don't want to take the risk of not being able to get the 5th-year option with them. So let's see here. Cooper DeJean would be so good because Ravens have great history with Iowa players. We do good with Iowa players, and Cooper DeJean is a physical cornerback. He's probably my favorite cornerback to watch in the class. And then any wide receiver playing less as worse as OBJ, we definitely don't need another one of them on the team. Let's just go to the draft and find Lamar another wide receiver because we definitely need them. Where would we get another running back? Keaton NR. I don't know what NR means, but I think excuse me. I think what Nana's getting at here is Keaton Mitchell might not be coming back super soon. So, where should we go after? I think Justice Hill's a good short-term, backup running back for Derrick Henry. But then I think the Ravens can go out and they will draft someone like around 6th guy, right? You look at what the Ravens have done in recent drafts. Obviously, they're good with the undrafted market. But, Tyler Beatty, that was their last pick 2 years ago. Like, they're fine with using a pick. And when you have as many draft picks as the Ravens have this year, you can draft a running back. Just don't do it in day 2. Draft a day 3 running back. That's fine. There's a lot of very competent, very good running backs in this draft class that you can absolutely get back. A little early, but do you think Linderbaum and Hamilton's? Yes, absolutely. They're both. Kyle Hamilton, I believe, is the best safety in the NFL. Actually rocking the Kyle Hamilton jersey right now. It's not a Marlon Brown jersey. And then like Tyler Linderbaum, like you draft a center because you want him for the future and you're going to give him that 5th-year option. Now, maybe you talk with him and you're like, hey, we want to use the 5th-year option on you. And he's like, let's just sign an extension to add on to that. That could also happen. Same with Kyle Hamilton. Audric Estime is a person I see the Ravens could really like. Could see him round 5 or 6. Absolutely. Estime he did not have a good combine, but he's a physical running back. And the tape on him, he doesn't look that slow. He looks like he's very good in the hole. He can be explosive. He can make big plays. And again, he has the size to maybe back up a guy like Derrick Henry. Or maybe we draft a pass catching running back, right? Like a Dylan Laube out of New Hampshire. He's one of the guys that is just a pure pass catcher, kind of a slot wide receiver combo. Like maybe we go after that to have kind of a hybrid usage out of Derrick Henry and other running backs. But that's kind of my thoughts there. Should we get into a mock draft now, or should we wait a little bit? Let's see here. Cooper Beebe. Thoughts on Cooper Beebe and Guyton at tackle. Like Cooper Beebe, it just depends, right? Like I don't want to go guard 1st round. I don't really like going guard 2nd round. If we could get him 3 or 4, that's definitely an option. I know UConn has the offensive guard. I like him. But I've never really drafted BB in mock drafts before. Like, I don't have a problem with them. But, yeah, and then I definitely like Guyton at right tackle. And I really liked Voorhees before the injury last year. So I'm excited to see him play. And honestly, remember, Ben Cleveland is a right guard. So maybe he's able to win that spot. Nervous about our wide receiver 3 and 0 line. I would love to trade for JJ or Brandon Ayuk or draft a wide receiver. Yeah, I think it'll be tough to trade for Brandon Ayuk or JJ because we'll have to give them an extension. And I don't know if we necessarily have the money to do that right now. So I think drafting a receiver and saying that, hey, we're drafting our wide receiver 2 and Bateman is our 3, that's what we need to have the mindset of. Like, don't wait and be like, oh, let's draft a round 5 guy to be our wide receiver 3. Like, draft a round 2 guy to be our wide receiver 2. And if Bateman's better than them at jump, that's fine. Bateman's a decent wide receiver. But you want to develop him into becoming that wide receiver 2 or even 1 over Zay Flowers. Like if you get a guy that's better than Zay, That's a benefit. Like it'd be great to get a wide receiver one. All of a sudden now we have two. So let's see here. I like the idea of trading down to get multiple day two picks. I don't like it at all. I think the fifth year option is too valuable, Oreo. Um, Especially when you're looking at the positions like offensive tackle, where we've seen, let's look at a situation the last time the Ravens drafted a tackle that became their starter. That would be, guess who? Orlando Brown Jr. And he wanted out, and we didn't even have a fifth year option on him. So I think it's very valuable at tackle, pass rusher, really every single position. Like having that fifth year option is crucial because if they end up being really good, right? Like a Kyle Hamilton, like a Tyler Linderbaum, like a Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson, like you're gonna want to keep them. Chris, I definitely agree. I'm still a big believer in Bate. It's just whether or not Lamar's a believer. I think at this point, like I don't see the chemistry lining up with them. So I'm just kind of waiting on if the Ravens will be able to take advantage of Bateman's route running because he gets open. He gets open. Lamar just does not look his way. And maybe that's Todd Monken. Maybe that's a combination. I don't know, but we got to figure it out. But I think let's jump into a mock draft right here. So then we can just throw this up. Just got to share screen. Oh, look at that. Tankathon. No, PFF. Okay. You guys see that okay? It looks all right. Okay. So settings for this. I kind of like putting in like halfway between the public and PFF board, but I think other than that, like I think this is a solid little thing. So I think we'll just enter the draft 7 rounds. We'll enter. Guyton went 25. Mims went 20. What are you guys thinking about players that we should go after here? Because in my opinion, like, yeah, we could go Jordan Morgan. Let's look at the trades though. Like, I don't want to trade back to 49. So I think we'll draft, but like, I don't really want to go AD Mitchell. Like, I'm looking at, like, I like Chopper. I like Darius Robinson. He's my favorite edge rusher that we have available. Chris Braswell's not bad. Fisk, we could go Fisk. Like, I like Keon Coleman a lot. I would be fine taking Keon, but what do you guys think? CJ likes AD Mitchell. I mean, I think Keon's a much better player than AD Mitchell, but let's see here. Gotta go O-line. So, I mean, offensive line looks like Jordan Morgan's really the only starting option. Him or Kingsley, Suamataya. I think Jordan Morgan's probably better, but Kingsley is more like potential. I think like he has, a higher ceiling than them, and I'm definitely not going interior offensive line. Let's see. I think that trade back, like my thought, Chris, is like, yeah, like in theory, like going back 5 or 6 spots would be fine, but also it's like if we're drafting a tackle, like why not have the 5th year option? So I think I'm gonna go with Jordan Morgan. in reality, like I would probably want the Ravens to go with Keon Coleman there, but the hope is that he would fall. He did not. But all right, now we can look at this. So Xavier Legette, really good option. Um, definitely a fan favorite is Xavier Legette. Christian Hayes is a guard. He's really good. I wouldn't be upset with Christian Hayes or Xavier Legette. I'll scroll through. Let's see the other options. Devontae Walker, Javon Baker. I like Javon Baker a lot. I don't like him as much as Xavier Legette, but I think he's really good. Yeah, so it looks like really the options are Christian Hayes, Xavier Legette. That's probably about it. So what do you guys think we should do? Is Polk available? I think Polk is gone. Yeah, Legette. I think Legette's the go-to. Like, I think he's just that good. And now, okay, now this is where it gets interesting. This is where the decisions actually come in. So I don't think we go wide receiver again. We could go another tackle and Dominic Pooney. We could use a linebacker. We could use a safety. We could use a corner. Jarian Jones is definitely solid. As I think he's a big body, right? I think he's like 6'1", 6 foot. Yeah, 6 foot. Like we could definitely use Jarian Jones. I would be very happy with him here. Sione Vaki. Like if we want another safety. Jacob Cowing also, I believe, is a return specialist, right? I know he's a speed guy, but I believe he's a return specialist. I don't know. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Does Pooney play some guard? Let's find out. Pooney played left guard in 2022. Oh, displayed bad posture and poor pad level. Very susceptible. Then he switched to left tackle, looked a lot better. But he best projects to guard. So maybe we go with Pooney as a guard option that could maybe compete at tackle. I kind of like Pooney here. I think that makes sense as a guard. I hate when they say tackle and then it's a guard. Let's go with Pooney. Let's throw him in at guard to compete with Voorhees and Ben Cleveland, and then we get to pick like right after, so it doesn't matter that much. Let's see here. So round 4. Now we've got some more options. Like now here's where BB is. Like Trey Benson, I think he's a really good player. I don't know if I really want to go with a running back right now. CJ wants to see the corners. Let's see. Elijah Jones, Shao Smith, Wade, Kalen Carson. I like Kalen Carson. Remember, we have 2 round 4 selections, so I think Kalen Carson will fall. Kalen King will also be available. Let's look at edge. Javon Solomon. I mean, I like him, but he's undersized. Let's see. Linebacker, Cedric Gray. Michael Barrett. Just out of curiosity. Safeties, Tyke Smith, Cole Bishop. Like Tyke Smith isn't bad, right? Like he's someone that has played pretty well. Like, look at where he's lined up. D-line, slot, corner, box, safety, deep threat. Like, he's someone where if we want a guy that can kind of do it all, I think he's like a good option for that. Clowney just signed with the Panthers, somebody said. I don't know what the Panthers are doing. The Panthers are an embarrassment to the NFL, by the way. So let's see. Someone says Cam Hart available. Let's see. I don't think so. Oh, we just went 2 picks before, 3 picks before. That's rough. I kind of like Tyke Smith here. Just because Javon Solomon, like, as much as I like his game, it's tough because he's so undersized. I want to say he's 6 foot or 6'1". Oh, he's 6'2", but he looks really small on film. But at the same time, like, he was productive. I think he had like 15 or 16 sacks last year. I think I'm going to go Tyke Smith here, though. And then we pick back very soon. Now we have guys like Braylon Allen available, who is an absolute stud. My RB2 in this class is Braylon Allen. Pulling up corners as well. Like, I like Kalen King. He's definitely an option. What are you guys thinking? And then also, let's see here. How do I see who I've drafted? Because it does not show who I've drafted. But we've gone safety, guard, wide receiver, and tackle. Like, do we want to go running back with that? Oh, what's going on, Don C? How's it going? See, might as well try King. He was elite in 2022. I like Shipley more than Allen. Yeah, Shipley's more of a pass catcher. My thought is, like, if we have Derrick Henry, right, having Braylon Allen as a backup to learn underneath him could be massive, right? Like, he's the most similar back to Derrick Henry, probably that I've ever seen coming into the draft, right? Like, you look at him, 6'2", 245, and also he's 20 years old, which is unbelievable. And then you look at 5'11", 205, very different, very different style players. So he doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires, which I really like for a Wisconsin back. That's rare. Dresky takes Allen. Shipley can be that third down back. Well, I think Justice is the third down back. Like, that's what Justice does. Like, Justice is the pass catcher. Oh, man. Dresky says take Allen. I'll listen with Dresky. And now let's look at this. Okay, now I think we have to go corner. We've probably been pushing it off for too long. Try to see when Kalen King went. Kalen King went to Buffalo, 144. Interesting. But looking at these corners, right, you've got Arkansas. So, at least that's, SEC 6'2", 188. I definitely like that. Really good last year. 3 interceptions, 4 interceptions the year before. 51 passer rating. That's pretty good. Like, I like that from Dwight McLaughlin. I can honestly say I have not watched any of these corners, so I'm not 100% confident in that. With Duvernay gone, who we got to punt return? I think Tylan Wallace will take a crack at the punt returns, and then I think we'll see Keaton Mitchell and Justice Hill for kickoffs, is my thoughts. Oh, man. But I also think that kick return, you can look in a lot of different spots. Right? Like we may try Zay at punt returner. We also might look at, the summer football leagues. Like that's how the Cowboys got Kavontae Turpin. Was that he was in there and he was doing really well, right? Like you can get a kick returner as an undrafted guy. That's not necessarily a position that you have to draft for unless you have guys that you're like, okay, this guy's a special kick returner. This point of the draft, we go freak athlete. I like going freak athlete. Like, in my opinion, the Ravens are pretty good at developing the freak athletes. And when it's just the guys that don't have the athleticism, it doesn't fit as well into their system. Is kind of my thought process with it. But like I like McLaughlin. Let's see. Tarheeb. I mean, he's 6'1", so like that's not bad. Ryan Watts isn't bad. Like I've watched him a little bit, but I think the go-to for corner here would be McLaughlin. But we could look at other positions still. I think I'm going to go McLaughlin just to get the cornerback down as a round 5 guy. Now, edge, Jalen Green. I like Jalen Green. He's undersized, though. I think he's 6'1". Let's see. Yeah, 6'1". That's tough. But productive. So that's a little bit difficult. I think we have like AJ Woods. We could go another corner. Like, what positions do you think we should target now? Like, now is it just best player available? I think at this point, when you get to round 6, it's definitely best player available. And so I think Jalen Green has the upside, right? Like, yes, he's undersized, but he was productive. And if we could get him, to keep performing at the NFL level, like, that's, I think, going to be the most valuable. But again, let me know what you guys think. Tua is available. Jordan McGee. Let's see here. I think I'm going to go Jalen Green here, just as a best player available. And then 228, we definitely don't need a center. Jordan Whittington, not a huge fan of him. Like, maybe go with Anium Donkwa. Oh my gosh, he's 6'8", 362. Wow. That's massive. Maybe we go with him as a developmental guy, Jordan Travis. The running back from Notre Dame, Audric Estime, I think he'll probably go round 5. But he's a big dude. He's a big dude. I like him. Like, if we drafted Estime or Braylon Allen, I'd be really happy. Or Trey Benson. Those are kind of like my favorite running backs in the class. But I also do really like Corum. I like Shipley. Those are kind of like the main guys that I like. Jordan Travis. I don't think going quarterback is smart. I like Malik Cunningham as a potential backup, and we have Josh Johnson. And we can definitely get some guys, right? Like you could get a Sam Hartman as an undrafted guy. Is my thought. Well, I think I'm going to go with this Anim Donkwa because he's just so big. Like, if the Ravens can develop that 6'8", 362 frame, like, that's exactly what you want in an offensive lineman. Now is the point of, okay, who do we want? There's some like backup quarterbacks. Trevin Wallace, I've drafted him a couple of times in mock drafts. Jordan McGee, I think I've drafted him as well. Kind of worrisome that he has so many missed tackles, but good in the pass rush, okay in coverage. Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't draft him like round 4 or 3, but my thought is when we get to the 6th and 7th round and we have so many draft picks, I think I'm just going off of just ceiling, kind of back to this comment of just like, these are shots in the dark. Faalele was a 3rd round pick. Cleveland was a 3rd round pick. I'm not a huge fan of just going off of like size for that early. But I think when you get to the 6th and 7th round, like my thought process kind of changes of like, okay, these are already shots in the dark. Let's at least get the people with the higher floors because at least they're big. That's my thought. We've been looking at Jordan Morgan. I would like that, but if DeJean falls and I say trade up and get Kingsley in the 2nd, early, oh my gosh, I would love that. If we got Cooper DeJean in the 1st, then traded up in the 2nd to get Kingsley, that would be awesome. That would be a dream 1st round. Or if we got Keon Coleman somehow as well, like that's just about as good as it gets in my opinion. Let's see here. Is this the final pick? Oh, no. Yeah, this is the final pick in the draft. I do like Oladapo out of Oregon State, but we already did go safety. We went with Tyke Smith. So I don't really know. I guess I don't really need a hat. My hair's not messed up. But like there's a trade here. 256. Like a Ravens trade, but like trade for 256 in their future 7. But I don't know. That's one of the difficult parts of having so many draft picks is like you run out of like things that you need, and then it just becomes like, okay, who do you just randomly want? And that's good because you're able to just keep drafting and you can take multiple shots on multiple positions. That's what the Ravens did not last year, but the year before that, right? Like we drafted a punter, we drafted 2 tight ends, we drafted a center, we drafted a safety. So like we were able to just keep taking shots in that 2022 draft class. And I think that's going to be the same thing here. Like we're just going to keep on taking shots. So maybe I'll look for wide receiver, like maybe Joshua Cephas is available or something like that. I like him. Nope. Hayden Haddon, I'm not a fan of. I do not think he's very good. Ledietrich Griffin. Never heard of him before. Ooh, look at that. He will get drafted due to his kicking and punt return ability. That sounds like a must draft to me. Let's go. I think I'm going to go with Ledietrich Griffin, a punt return specialist. It's exactly what we needed. That's how you finish the draft. Okay, so let's run back through it. Jordan Morgan. I mean, there wasn't really anybody else other than Jordan Morgan. Xavier Legette, I think he's always a solid option in round 2. Dominic Pooney, The thought was play him at guard. Tyke Smith, that is the third safety for the 3 safety sets. Put him in underneath Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams, and he's going to be able to play underneath, slot, and over the top. Braylon Allen, backup running back for Derrick Henry. Dwight McGlothern, he's somebody that's just going to go out there as a big physical corner, and hopefully develop underneath Marlon and Brandon Stevens. At least get somebody else in that rotation because we don't know the future with those guys. Jalen Green, undersized edge rusher, but he was productive at JMU. Maybe we can develop him into something. Enim Donkwa, big physical offensive tackle. Maybe we can develop him into something. Again, these are late 6th and 7th round picks. We're just trying to take a shot in the dark. And then LaDetrick Griffin, a special teams returner from Mississippi State. I think that's a solid draft. And Baltimore get up. I think you're 100% right. There's definitely really good wide receivers in day 2 and day 3 that we can go after. Don C, dude, I cannot wait for the Derrick Henry jersey to drop. I want to get it in black. That's my hope, is get a black Derrick Henry. And then where's the O-line help? I'll scroll up. So O-line, we went with tackle first, and then Dominic Pooney coming in at guard. So that's at least a start for our offensive line help. Yeah, I'm so excited to watch Ravens football. I can't wait for preseason. Like, even if we don't have Derrick Henry or Lamar play, like, just getting to watch football again, or even practice, like I'm just excited for the draft. Like, it's really hard when we're not doing a lot of the Ravens aren't doing a lot in free agency. Like, we got Derrick Henry, awesome, love that, but we're not doing anything else. It's like we're re-signing a couple of players. I don't think we're gonna make any splash moves until the draft. So, like, my thought is just like we're just waiting. We're just waiting. Appreciate it, DeJean. It's just a lot of waiting of like, what are they going to do? And I don't really like making just like prediction videos every day, which is why it's been hard for me to put the videos out so consistently. It's like we don't have much money. It's just the draft. And so I'll work on maybe putting out some scouting videos or something like that. I don't know exactly what I want to do, but I will get more videos out this week. Definitely having one up tomorrow. Then March Madness is also Thursday, so that'll be a lot of fun. Go North Carolina. But just really excited to see kind of what the Ravens are eventually going to do and how they're able to take it all out. Thank you. I like taking the hair off of my head. It gets really frustrating having to mess with it every day. And then the goatee's almost gone because the beard's going back in. But maybe I'll go back to the goatee. I don't know. You guys let me know. Can't stop sharing that. Let's see here. All righty. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming through. Fun, almost hour-long stream. Talk some draft, talk some free agency stuff. So it's always fun. I'll be back with a video tomorrow. Should be a lot of good stuff coming out. And then, I'll see all of you again next time. And until then, have a good one.